It's been a pretty bad year for video games. Sure, we've got some pretty good AAA titles. Elden Ring got DLC back in June, Wukong dropped just recently, but in terms of indie games, we haven't seen a whole lot. Last year I had a buffet of indie games to tickle my fancy, like Pseudo Regalia and Pizza Tower, but this year the indie pickings that we do have are pretty slim. All I can really think of is Wani, which was great, and Pal World, which was not so great. Either way, I wanted more, but it felt like more would never come. Or so I thought. In today's video, I'd like to do a quick review of UFO 50, because I think this game is a serious contender for Game of the Year. And by the end of this video, hopefully I can convince you to give this game a try for yourself. It's hard to explain what UFO 50 is, because it's not quite one game, but rather a collection of 50 games. And they're not quite mini games, but rather 50 games of varying lengths and replayabilities. I get what they're going for here. The main inspiration for this seems to be those crappy 1 in 100 game collections that you'd spot in the bargain bin. But the twist that they've got is that instead of being like 100 copies of Bejeweled or something, it's actually a bunch of original titles. And it's great. Where do I even begin with this collection? The first game? No, definitely not the first game. Part of the fun of UFO 50 is jumping to a new game when one doesn't tickle your fancy. This isn't a collection that's meant to be played in order. Instead, you should bounce between games and find one that you personally enjoy. Now, while I and many others might hate Barbuda, there are certainly a few sick, twisted boomers who absolutely love this game. It brings them back to a simpler time in their life before the internet, and they had nothing but graph paper and a pencil to keep track of where the hell they were in a game. And that's the best part of UFO 50, because every game is high effort, it's pretty much a guarantee that you'll find something that you love here. The first game that I really found myself enjoying was a game called Elphazar's Hat. It's like a twin-stick shooter without the second stick. The lore's not very deep, you're a rabbit and some other bird creature, and you've got to shoot everything on screen. The big gimmick of this one, though, is that when you kill an enemy or break a box, you'll find a card. Match 3 of these cards together and you'll get a buff. This isn't some revolutionary mechanic, but it's fun. I found myself trying out so many different card combinations because it's not just as simple as matching 3 cards. Sometimes you can get a different outcome if you get 2 of the same cards and 1 different card. For example, if you get 3 purple hearts, your health extends, but if you get 2 purple hearts, your health restores. Since I suck ass at video games, this was the main combination I found myself using, but maybe you'll find use for the other combinations, since I'm assuming you're gonna play better than I will. Elphazar's Hat is like a 7 out of 10 though, and one 7 out of 10 game is not enough to justify a $25 purchase. But you know what game is enough to justify a $25 purchase? Party House. Party House alone has sold me on UFO 50. UFO 50 could have ended here in terms of games, and I still would have paid $25 for it, because Party House is just that damn good. I'm not quite sure what genre you would call this. Northern Lion seems to classify it as a deck builder.
It's a deck builder!
But if you're a gambling addict like me, I'm sure you'll love it. Party House works like this. You're tasked with throwing a party, and you can allow in 1 random guest at a time. Each guest brings some sort of utility with them. Some increase the popularity of the party, allowing you to invite even more useful guests. Some bring money, and some bring trouble. My favorite guest is the one that kicks people out, because I can just imagine him grabbing the troublemaker of choice and screaming, "Get out!" The concept has a bit of a skill floor though. It's not something that you'll get right away. But once you do put the pieces together, Jesus Christ, this game becomes so addictive. I genuinely could not put this one down. I went from like 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. playing this game until I succumbed to my sleepiness. Only to wake up the next day so I could finish playing the remaining levels. That's about 7.5 hours of playtime for this one game. This one game. I still have like 45 other games that I haven't even opened at the time of writing, and it's probably gonna stay that way too, because I want to pop Party House's cherry. Oh, right, cherries. Every game in this collection has some sort of challenge for you to complete, and upon completion, your game is granted a cherry. These aren't like a currency as far as I'm aware, just a fun little trophy to say that you did it. I have heard rumors going around though that apparently you can unlock a few prototypes of games in this collection though. Hell, at one point I even heard that there's a game in here that contains 50 more games, but that's gotta be a load of barnacles. Speaking of loads of barnacles, let's talk about one of UFO 50's more unique games. Pilot Quest is a rather frustrating game. Right off the bat, I can tell that this game was inspired by Earthbound. The soundtrack, the goofy art style, the quirky dialogue, this game has all of that. So you would think it's just gonna be like a turn-based RPG or something, right?
So I've been told. What is that face from?
Nope. For whatever reason, Pilot Quest is an idle game. The gist of the game is that you're a pilot, you crash land on an alien planet, and now you must gather resources to fix your ship and leave again. You've got two options for gathering resources. You can leave the game open and watch the funny numbers go up, or you can venture into the wild area. And the wild area is easily the best part of this game. There's a huge learning curve to understanding how the wild area works. Firstly, you can't stay here forever. You're on a timer as soon as you enter the wild area, and even worse, this timer is your health bar. That doesn't sound too bad until you realize that even the most basic of enemies take like 5 swings to kill. So if you happen to run out of time trying to kill an enemy, GG dude, you just lost all of your resources. This game kind of sucks, dude. But, weirdly enough, I kind of love it. Despite the janky combat, despite the boring idle game mechanics, the experience as a whole is a decent one. The world is mysterious, the characters are lovable, and the music is groovy. By the time I finished this one, I actually found myself kinda sad to be leaving it behind. What I'll say is this: if you end up buying UFO 50 after this review, make sure that you start Pilot Quest early. The idle parts of this game will continue to run as you play other games, so it's much smarter to get this one out of the way sooner rather than later. I mean, that's what I did. I had like 40 unplayed games when I first opened up Pilot Quest, and it definitely made the idle parts of the game a little easier to stomach.
Dixon, should you really be reviewing a game that you haven't finished?
Listen, you might make a valid point, but I don't care. I've been frothing at the mouth for a big indie game this year, and they gave me 50 in one collection. Of course I'm gonna make a video about it. Yes, $25 for a collection of 50 original games is worth buying. Another game I saw rated very highly on UFO 50 tier lists was Rail Heist. I don't have nearly as much time sunk into this game as Party House, but I can assure you it's every bit as good. It's a very cleverly designed, turn-based stealth game? It's difficult to assign just one genre to Rail Heist. Your goal is to steal the money from the back of the train, but once you alert the guards, you must now both take turns moving. It might not sound that great on paper, but trust me, it's fun. I think one of my favorite aspects of this one is that if you happen to get shot, there's a chance that your lifeless corpse just gets bounced between multiple gunmen. Look at this shit. Though, had it not been for the limited pixel art of this game, it might be a little less funny. I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like the moment that I see an indie game has pixel art, I immediately discredit the game's quality. I get the feeling that it's just going to be a shallow, lowbrow clone of a game that I've already played back on the NES. And yet, whenever I play a game on UFO 50, I find myself often taken aback by the level of depth that every game has to offer. The thing is, without the limited art style, I don't think UFO 50 could exist. The limited pixel art visuals and animations allow the devs to prioritize gameplay first, and I'm very thankful to say that none of the games in this collection feel too similar to anything I've played before. There are certain similarities here and there. I noticed that Ninpek handles a bit like Mega Man Classic, and hell, even the octopus boss looks like something straight out of Mega Man Classic. But unlike Mega Man, Ninpek is an auto-scroller, and instead of having health, you just straight up die in one hit. There are hints of inspiration from the classics, but there's always some sort of twist to keep it from feeling like a bad clone of a game that you've already played before. They're not joking when they say these aren't minigames. Each and every one of these most certainly holds its own as a game. Now, are all of them very long games? Maybe not. Most of them are a few hours long max. But I don't really give a damn how long a game is as long as it's fun. I've been dying for more short and sweet games, sort of like Pseudo-Regalia, and it would seem that I've been awarded graciously with about 50 of them. Seriously, dude, come on. UFO 50 is 25 bucks. Some are calling this game of the decade. Now me, I don't know if I'd go that far, but for an entry fee of 25 bucks and 50 games to choose from, you really can't go wrong with your purchase here. You will find a game in this collection that you love, trust me. Going into this, I was extremely doubtful about finding even one game worth playing. Leaving it though, I find myself with a handful of games that I'm itching to go back and try again. What I can say with confidence is that this is the best indie game of 2024. Why? Well, considering that the only other good indie game from this year was a paraplegic dating simulator, I don't think this one has much competition. TLDR, buy UFO 50. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider liking and subscribing. And if you hated the video, let me know why in the comments section below. Either way, I'm gonna go throw a house party. Peace.